Did Allah accidentally create Christianity? According to the Quran, Jesus was just a prophet and was sent to preach Islam, where it says in chapter 43, verse 59, that he, i.e., Jesus, was not but a servant upon whom we bestowed favor, and we made him an example for the children of Israel. And in verses 63 through 64, it says, And when Jesus brought clear proofs, he said, I have come to you with wisdom, i.e., prophethood, and to make clear to you some of that over which you differ. So fear Allah and obey me. Indeed, Allah is my Lord and your Lord, so worship him. This is a straight path. And while he was preaching, he gained some Muslim converts, where it says in chapter 3, verse 52, that when Jesus felt persistence and disbelief from them, he said, Who are my supporters for the cause of Allah? The disciples said, We are supporters for Allah. We have believed in Allah and testify that we are Muslims, submitting to him. And again, we see in chapter 5, verse 111, And remember when I inspired to the disciples, Believe in me and in my messenger Jesus. They said, We have believed, so we bear witness that indeed we are Muslims in submission to Allah. So while Jesus was preaching, it looks like he was having a pretty successful ministry, and Allah would even promise the disciples that they would become the dominant group of believers against the unbelievers. In chapter 61, verse 14, it says, O you who have believed, be supporters of Allah, as when Jesus, the son of Mary, said to the disciples, Who are my supporters for Allah? The disciples said, We are supporters of Allah. And a faction of the children of Israel believed, and a faction disbelieved. So we supported those who believed against their enemy, and they became dominant. However, things would eventually take a turn when the Jews tried to crucify Jesus in chapter 4, verse 157, where it says, And for their saying, Indeed, we have killed the Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary, the messenger of Allah. And they did not kill him, nor did they crucify him, but another was made to resemble him to them. And indeed, those who differ over it are in doubt about it. They have no knowledge of it except the following of assumption. And they did not kill him for certain. So according to the Quran, Jesus didn't die, nor was he crucified, but Allah made it appear so to the people trying to kill him. The only problem is, he did such a great job fooling the Jews, he even fooled his disciples as well, because the same disciples that Allah promised to be dominant are preaching to the world that Jesus was the divine Son of God who died and rose from the dead. And they are the only dominant group of disciples that we know of, because everything we have from after the time of Jesus says they ended up spreading this message about Jesus throughout the whole world. And this ended up making Christianity the world's largest religion. And it was all guided along by Allah, who made Jesus' disciples dominant. So by the looks of it, Allah either accidentally started Christianity by fooling Jesus' disciples into believing Jesus died, which eventually led them to believing he rose from the dead, and Allah's plan of tricking the Jews totally backfired, or Allah was intentionally deceiving Jesus' followers and caused them to spread a false message about Jesus dying and rising from the dead, and causing Christianity to grow out of this false message. But either way, not crucifying Jesus makes absolutely no sense from a Muslim perspective, because all it did was cause the world's largest religion, and Allah has only to blame himself for leading so many people astray from Islam. And this would also make Jesus the biggest failure of a prophet of all time for not being able to keep one Muslim convert, because Allah caused them all to believe Jesus was something he wasn't. So Muslims, if you're mad at Christians for not accepting Islam, it's not our fault. We're just following the teachings of Jesus' disciples whom Allah made dominant.